Hi, this is Jamie. I'm here at Contact in the Desert. We're here with Jim Mars. He's a presenter here. He's giving a lecture and workshop. So, Jim, how has your experience been so far?
Here?
Yes.
Here's been wonderful. This is the greatest lineup of speakers and people knowledgeable about UFOs and attendant issues that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's great. There's so many UFO luminaries here today, it seems like.
Well, and not just UFOs, but also metaphysics and socio-political issues, everything else surrounding it. In fact, my message would be is if you don't believe in UFOs and if you just refuse to look at that and you laugh it all off, then you'll never, ever figure out what's going on in the world because you've thrown out a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, it's important to come with an open mind. Okay, so
Because your mind's like a parachute. It works better when it's open.
Exactly. No, it's definitely interesting. I mean, I know I've been listening to, shows like Coast to Coast and stuff like that for a long time, but I'm relatively new to, things like this, I've never been to a UFO conference, so it's really interesting.
And I bet you came expecting to see people with tinfoil hats and little propellers on their head and painted green.
Exactly.
And I haven't seen one of those here. Have you?
I know. Everyone looks so normal, and I was hoping to see some tinfoil hats, to be honest, because I do.
See, this is what the corporate media does. They go to UFO convention, they look around until they can find the weirdest looking person there, and that's who they go interview. Okay,
yeah.
They don't talk to the former astronauts and the former military pilots and the air traffic controllers and journalists like myself or authors or researchers who have seriously looked into the issue. They just report the ha-ha factor, and this is why so many people in the public, just kind of ignore the whole issue of UFOs because they watch TV and is from their standpoint, well, there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very frustrating that you can't get like a straight UFO story, or it's never straight. There's always got to be, like they said in the panel, there's always got to be that joke or that thing at the end.
But the good news is that is changing, Jamie. I know when the things happened over Stephenville here a couple of years ago, and there were multiple sightings by multiple people. These things were going. We finally got the radar data, which showed that an object almost a mile long was soaring through the skies there of North Texas at speeds no more than about 30 miles an hour. Well, that's not airspeed. You can't stay in the air. If you're heavier than air, not a light balloon or whatever, you can't stay in the air at 30 miles an hour. So in that instance, the Texas media for sure, and even some of the national media, actually treated that as a legitimate story and reported the facts. So it is changing.
Oh, and there's so many shows on TV now that are very popular that are about paranormal UFOs,
ancient aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's what my latest book's about, by the way.
Yeah,
is our occulted history. And I got to quickly point out that occulted doesn't mean it's got nothing to do with zombies or witches or devil worshippers. I use the term occulted in the astronomical sense when the moon eclipses the sun. That's called an occultation. And it simply means it hides the sun, it masks the sun. So our occulted history simply means history that we have not been told about.
So talk a little bit about your what you're talking about here today at the conference, what lecture and workshop you're giving.
Talking about our occulted history. But no, I am pointing out that there's an abundance of evidence not only on the Earth, but on the moon, other moons of the solar system, that is pretty strong evidence that we are not the first intelligent species to be traveling around in our solar system. And then I focus step back onto the Earth, and we go back. You can go back to biblical times, Ezekiel and the fiery wheel, the flying boats of the Egyptians, the flying shields of the Romans, all throughout history. The whole idea of UFOs didn't start in 1947. It goes all the way back. And so that leads to the burning question, well, wait a minute, if somebody other than us has been here, where are they now? Did they all leave, or some of them still here? What? And so I try to answer that question, and I think I have with the evidence and information that I present.
And you have some other books here, too. What are some of these?
Well, of course, my first big New York Times bestseller was Crossfire, The Plot to Kill Kennedy, which was a book used as a basis for the Oliver Stone movie, JFK. And then my New York Times bestsellers include Ruled by Secrecy, which trace the secret societies all through history, back to the ancient astronauts. the rise of the Fourth Reich, which is how that we beat the Germans in World War II, but we didn't beat the Nazis. They didn't come to the surrender table. In fact, they came over here and brought us jets and atomic weapons and all of their advanced technology, but unfortunately we got some of their ideology too.
So where do you do your research to
Well, my
write
background
that book?
is as a journalist. I have a degree in journalism, and I've worked for a number of newspapers. I was a print journalist. And so I research. And so basically, though, I'm not personally breaking ground. I'm just basically a reporter. Mm-hmm. So I'm reporting on collecting iron. Well, like on Rise of the Fourth Reich, I believe I used more than almost 400 books. So see, if you buy my one book, The Rise of the Fourth Reich, you not only get the information, but I just saved you from buying 400 books.
That's very nice of you. Have you used any of the documents from the government?
I use documents. I use interviews with people, and like I said, I read and cite credible sources. You know, there's tons of stuff out there. The internet, okay? The upside of the internet is that anybody and everybody has access to the internet. Mm-hmm. The downside is that anybody and everybody has access to the internet.
Exactly.
So you have to be a little judicious, and you have to really pick and choose what you buy into. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah. So my last question would be: Have you ever had any personal experience with UFO?
In my book, Alien Agenda, which I've been told is the top-selling nonfiction book on UFOs in the world, it's been translated into several languages. I cited a couple instances of my personal experience, but to basically answer I've seen strange lights in the sky. I've had some funny experiences, but to answer your question, basically no. As far as I know, I have never seen a flying saucer, never been taken aboard one, et cetera, et cetera. But as a reporter for almost 50 years now, I've run into too many people, credible people, pilots, military officers, astronauts. I've interviewed several astronauts, et cetera, and when they all tell me that this is real and that they've had these experiences, after a while you go, you know, all those people can't be crazy. So yes, I'm almost certain that we're dealing with a real phenomenon here.
That's kind of how I feel about it too, so.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much, Jim, for talking to us.
Thank you, Jamie.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.